what are they called? Bayer Leverkusen. Never heard of them.
Glorious. No, I won't give in till I'm victorious.
Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back with another brand new video. Today's a video we unfortunately have to put the small matter that Rangers are the only Scottish team left in a European competition on. We have to put that to one side, lads, because tomorrow we have an opposition and a fixture that's been causing us problems all season long. But as always, before we go any further on with today's video, a quick little shout out to the channel sponsors, OneFootball, whose link will be down there in the description below if you want a wee bit extra Rangers news. But as we've got some business to take care of, let's actually get into it then, shall we? And as always, we're going to be starting off with the opposition. However, there's not going to be any oppositional preview in today's video because, again, the opposition is Hearts, and we have spoke about Hearts a lot on this channel to save me and thee hearing the same stuff we already have spoke about and discussed down there in the comment section below. What we'll do is a wee overview of Hearts and a wee catch up to find out what Hearts have actually been up to since they last played Rangers and obviously won 2-1 at Tynecastle. Well, since that win versus Rangers that was supposed to be the catalyst to their change around in the season, under Stendhal it's all going to go right. They were singing their songs, they were doing their dances, it was supposed to be only up from there. However, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, since that 2-1 win versus Rangers, Hearts haven't won another league game. They are still bottom of the SPFL, and their only win since we last played them at Tynecastle was a narrow 1-0 win over Falkirk. When I say narrow, I mean narrow, ladies and gentlemen, because if anyone's seen the highlights or even seen the game, you will know Falkirk battered them left, right and centre. Didn't hit the post once, they didn't hit the post twice, but they hit the post 3 times in the game and ended up going ahead and losing it on a counter-attack as Hearts won a penalty, Clare stepped up and buried it. With that being said, and the fact that in the last 5 matches they've conceded 13 goals, 8 of them have been at Tynecastle, I think it's fair to say that Stendhal and Hearts are still trying to figure it out. Because let's be honest, this Hearts team should be nowhere near the bottom of the league, especially with how much wages are being paid out to every single one of these Hearts players. But that's where they find themselves, lads. They're not getting any better. Can they turn up one or twice whenever it's Rangers coming to town? Aye, but can they do it consistently? No. And there seems to be something very wrong with this group of players that they've got. I think a perfect example of that is if you look at their attacking talent alone, they've got Boyce, they've got Naismith, they've got Walker, they've got Washington, they've got Wimeshe and Big Ipsky, as we like to call them on the SPFL show. That is not bad in terms of attacking talent, but you know who their top goal scorer is? I'll give you a couple of seconds to guess. Craig Hockett, the centre half, and he's been injured for about 6 weeks. Something is definitely wrong at Hearts Football Club, but as we've already mentioned and as we've already saw, we are in eyes this season. Whenever Rangers come to Tynecastle, these players find that extra 25%. They can run a bit longer, they can actually challenge, and they can track back, which they can't versus anyone else in the league, it seems. And with this being a cup game and it being at Tynecastle, I'm not expecting to see the Hearts team that was absolutely destroyed by Hamilton until a BS red card. Nah. I'm expecting them to come flying out the traps again and play like they can be bothered. And when it is all switched on for Hearts, they are a very, very dangerous game. So I don't care that they're still bottom of the league. I'm not caring that they've not won in the league since we last played them. This is still a massive test for Rangers because you know these Hearts players are going to be raring to go. So I'm very interested to see what Rangers' composure is going to be like in this game. And I think with that being said, that is the perfect place to end the Hearts preview right there. I'm still expecting a fiery encounter and I'm expecting to see the best Hearts we've seen all season long. Now though, it's time to dive over and talk about what matters most, and that is of course Rangers. And coming into this game of football versus Hearts, Rangers have just carried Scottish football into the last 16 of the Europa League with a truly amazing performance, and I really mean that, a truly amazing performance versus Braga, a team that every non-supporting Tom, Dick and Harry told us would wipe the floor with Rangers at home. Did that happen? Nah. The Europa League's top goal scorers were shut out completely, and it was actually Rangers that carved Braga open several times and created major opportunities in the game. And in that game of football, Rangers played very quickly. There was no passing back nonsense. There was no centre-backs building the play. It was midfield, build the play, spring the passes out, and let's attack a high defensive line, which normally you wouldn't be able to bring those type of tactics in to a game versus Hearts. It's like under Craig Levein or that skinny Viking or anything like that. But under Stendhal, he plays nearly the exact same way as Braga, and by that I mean like the possession style, going after them, and a high defensive line. I'm not saying they're as good as Braga or anything like that, but the style of play with that high defensive line is the same. And I actually find myself sitting here talking to you, hoping and praying Gerrard sends the boys out to play the exact same way as they did on Wednesday night versus Braga. Nay, building for your centre-backs. Let the midfielders build the play and attack a high defensive line. Because if you actually think back to that last game versus Hearts at Tynecastle, we kept religiously trying to play our brand of football, which is slow, passive, side-to-side nonsense. Even with 4 of their strikers on the park, we wouldn't dare try and play quickly. We were trying wee passing side, nice little triangles, and it just wasn't working. We completely faulted out that game. We didn't adjust, we didn't change, and we lost it. But with Gerrard getting his tactics and his game plan absolutely spot on, I'm hoping some of that trickles in back to the games versus Scottish teams, and he just allows his 2 centre-backs to defend. Didn't rely on them to build up, because when you just allowed them to defend, I thought they were absolutely excellent. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Gerrard sets up, especially considering everything he said in this week's press conference. Now, we're not going to dive in too deep because, again, I'm sick and tired of hearing the exact same stuff, but something that Gerrard said numerous times in this week's press conference that I have never, ever heard him say before is he hopes to see the real Rangers tomorrow. And if the real Rangers turns up tomorrow, he has no doubts that they will be able to overcome the challenge of Hearts. And I don't know, lads, I found that very, very interesting. It's probably the biggest takeaway I've had now from a Steven Gerrard's press conference for God knows how long. He's never said the phrase before, but the fact he kept saying it and saying the real Rangers needs to step up and stand up in this game, I'm going to be very curious to see how not only we set up and who we pick, but how we go about the game and how these players respond to Gerrard putting that on the players before the game. And with speaking with team, that gives us the perfect transition over to some team news going into this game. Now, the biggest one, I think the main one coming from this game of football, is going to be the fact that Kamberi isn't going to be able to be involved, whether it is starting or being from the bench, because he's been our bright spot now from the bench over the last couple of games when it hasn't been working with Alfredo Morelos up front. But there is no Kamberi option going into this game tomorrow, so very interested to see how that plays out. And I honestly, it's just a bitter blow, because I thought he was excellent on Wednesday. Yes, bit rusty with the old offsides, but I saw a lot of promise from Kamberi. I'm very excited to see what he brings, but he is out the game, and that means Alfredo is back in the lineup. And even though I've been very, very disappointed with Alfredo Morelos over the last couple of weeks, I actually think Kamberi's performance on Wednesday will give Morelos the kick up the jacksie that he needs, knowing there's another striker now breathing over his shoulder. Because you think about it, when was he at his best? When Jermaine Defoe was there scoring goals and challenging for the striker spot. He seems to work well when someone's pushing him to get better. As soon as Jermaine Defoe dropped out and we never really had a backup striker, Morelos' play has went like that. So I'm hoping to see a bit of a resurgence in Alfredo Morelos in this game, especially with the next bit of news that we've got to talk about. In case you're worried, nae Kamberi, only Morelos, we've got nae strikers on the bench. Well, there is an outside chance that you'll see Mr. Jermaine Defoe back amongst the squad tomorrow, which is absolutely fantastic news. Now, you might not even see him tomorrow, but you might see him a part of the bench, and for me, that is a massive, massive positive for this football club. The other one is going to be the fact that Hilander's, of course, still ruled out, but everyone else is good to go and fully fit and ready for this game versus Hearts, which is obviously massive considering what they gave in that game versus Braga. To come away with that game not only with a win, but anyone picking up knocks or struggling for the weekend's game, that is a major win for me. And that leads us to the last part in today's video, with the old overview done and dusted and the latest team news wrapped up in a neat little bow. All that's left is for me and thee now to get their prediction ons out there. So let me know what your thoughts and opinions are going into this game versus Hearts. Now, very, very briefly, I'm going to give you mine before we jump over to Twitter. And I am expecting fireworks. I'm expecting a feisty display. But I think Rangers are actually going to be able to challenge it and work it well. And more importantly, take advantage of that high defensive line from Hearts. So I'm expecting Rangers to come away with the 2-0 win. My goal scorers are pretty simple, and they picked themselves Mr. Hagi and Mr. Alfredo Morelos. Again, expecting him to bounce back. Now, there's a striker there challenging for that starting spot. And now that me and thee have had their say, let's sit back, relax, and hear from the people on Twitter. There's already been 1,409 votes. Thank you so much for getting involved. 4% votes for the draw, 7% votes for a Hearts win, but the far and away winner with 89% of the vote is a Rangers away win. So let's see what the people's had to say then, shall we? Ewan McKenzie is the first one in. He simply writes in 3-1 to Rangers. Mike.G writes in 2-0, CJ. I swear to God, you're copying me, honestly. Tough game, but getting through against Braga should give the team confidence. Back in Kent to score again, and I'd love to see Morelos back scoring. Hadji_GOAT writes in 4-1 to Rangers. Hadji to get 2, Stewart to get 1, and Morelos to also get 1. Beret writes in hopefully a decent win this time for the famous. That would be nice. Gary Thompson-Smith writes in 3-1 to Rangers. Hadji, Kent, Morelos goal scorers, and Arfield to play a blinder. Scotty Arfield loyal, back to back, writes in 3-0 to Rangers. Hadji to score, Morelos, and with a dirty double. Footy Dafty writes in 3-1 to the famous. Hadji brace with Tav on the penalty. This one. That'd be funny to see the captain back on the pens. That's Rocky, by the way. I do apologise. David Green writes in 3-0 to the famous Hadji to score all 3 goals. FIFO RFC writes in, I think 2-0 to Rangers. Hadji, dirty double, sorry. I accidentally clicked off your finger there. Ian McAlpine writes in Rangers 2-1. It's going to be easy. I'd love your confidence, mate. Especially a 2-1. That would make me nervous. Gregor Linton writes in, have to say 2-1 to Hearts. Do you have to say that? And the last one we'll read out in tonight's video, we'll scroll up there, we'll scroll way down here, and we'll stop it right here. And it comes from Sean Sturgeon, and he writes in 2-0, Arfield and Kent with the goal. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people, you've heard from myself, you've even heard Rocky rustling about there on the ground. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now, and as always. But as I was saying before my camera ran out there, I'm CJ Nova92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.